Front Row MMA, we're here in Stockholm, Sweden for the UFC Fight Night, and we're fortunate enough to be joined by one of the hottest prospects in Swedish MMA and a great professional, in Niklas Backstrom. Thanks for spending some time with us. I'm going to ask the basic questions first. You know, whenever we've seen you, whenever we've seen a build-up to a fight, whenever we've seen you in the cage, you bring a lot of energy and a lot of emotion. You have a passion for this sport. Where did that come? Where did that start? Where did that love of MMA first develop?
The first time I watched the MMA fight, I think I was like 7 years old. My brothers and my cousins watched a lot of MMA, and they are a lot older than me. So that's the first time I watched it. But then, like when I was 10, I started following it a bit more, and we started doing instructional tapes in my room, where I just got beat up because they're 6 and 9 years older than me, so they were.
Can you remember who was in that first fight? Can you remember what's your first sort of memory of a great MMA fight?
Yeah, this one. I don't need to do anything more. It's this one. You know what I mean?
Pamela Jones?
It's one of the first UFCs when he wraps him up in a crucifix.
Orlando Veach and Remco Pardell.
Is it?
Or are we talking Gary Goodridge and
Gary Goodridge
and the American wrestler?
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's a UFC 8.
I thought you were gonna get that.
Well, there's downward elbows. There's a lot of them. It's Gary Goodridge for sure.
It's a crucifix.
Yeah.
And it just keeps on going.
So that is in the day of the UFC. That was UFC 8. So that's probably 1996, maybe.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah. I was 7 years old then.
What was it about the sport then? What was it about? Because again, those elbows were pretty brutal. 8 unanswered elbows to the temple. That's a pretty brutal thing for a 7. What was it that excited you about it?
Well, 8 unanswered elbows to the head excited me to the sport, basically. But you know, when you're a kid, you watch all kinds of animated shows, and all of a sudden there's something even wilder that's real. And I just got, drawn into it by the fascinating, style against style and masters and all that, the mysticism of the sport.
Of course, style against style, it tends to have slowly started to disappear as MMA athletes are all-rounders from the outset. Did you have was your starting point MMA, or was it boxing or grappling? Where was your start?
My start is probably hockey.
Nice.
Yeah, those were my first fights. And me and my brothers used to fight each other in like land hockey and stuff like that. But I was really into hockey and watched a lot of hockey fights and all that. So that's probably my start.
Can we expect to see a lot of single collar tie-ups and uppercuts there?
If people had geese, I would do it a lot more. But now that technique is like I can't use it because there's nothing to pull.
Now, we have to talk the last fight, I'm afraid. It didn't go the way you wanted it to go against one of our countrymen, so bittersweet speaking to you about it. Do you think there was too much emotion going into that? There seemed to be some bad blood. Did that have any impact at all, or was it just he caught you with the shot, simple as that? Yeah,
he caught me with a shot, simple as that. I had no bad feelings against him. I hope he had none against me. Shit happens. What can I say? Sometimes you drop your telephone in the toilet. Stuff like that happens, and that's what it felt like, not to downplay his part. He hit me with a good shot. I thought I had control over the fight, but I got overconfident, and I didn't respect his ability to hurt me.
Is it a case that you can look back at fighters always say, win or lose, we learn from that last performance or from that last fight. What was the biggest lesson that you took from that one then?
That probably shouldn't be, overconfident as that, and keep my distance and not to rush. I wanted to rush the finish, so I got that bonus again. But I think to bring a little bit of maybe not fear, but like reality, knowing what you're doing, that it's actually dangerous. It's like people that climb, walls. They climb a 50-meter wall one day with safety, and the next day they climb 15 meters and they forget about the safety. They don't need it, and then they fall and die. So it's kind of like that. I feel so. Keep the respect of what you're actually doing. It's a dangerous sport, and people will try to hit you in the face.
And we're here tonight. It's Gustafson and Rumble tomorrow. It's another Swedish card, but unfortunately, injury has sort of meant that you couldn't be considered for this. Is that a little bit gutting, or again, can you roll with those punches? This is part of the sport?
Well, it is a part of the sport. Of course, it's not the best scenario. I would have loved to fight here, but I got injured, and that's just reality.
How long feasibly before fans can expect to see you competing in the cage again? Is it just a matter of months? Are we sort of rehabbing the injury now, or is there still a little bit of time?
I don't got patience for rehab. I go straight in. So I hope I get a fight as soon as possible.
I always ask fighters this, and I know the response I'm going to get because you're all very respectful. But all right, if you could pick, yeah. Who would you like, or what type of opponent would you like? Is there a style that you'd like to go in against, somebody who's more heavily grappling, or what do you want from your next fight?
I would like to fight somebody that nobody thinks I would beat, because then I do my best fights and I take it a lot more serious. And it's always when I have the most things against me, I do my best fights. When I have no training before, when it's short notice, then I do my best fights. So it would be fun to fight somebody that is fan favorite or something like that. Let's go.
Looking further up the rankings, you're just looking. Now, I've been told I've got 1 minute with you, so I'm gonna make this short and sweet. You train with some beasts at All Stars. A few of them are appearing on the card tomorrow. Alex and Rumble, how do you see that going down?
I see Alex taking it, of course. No shocker. I train at the same gym, but I see him taking it because I feel like he is more well-rounded and more talented in every aspect, really. He doesn't only rely. He's a really good striker, but he doesn't rely on that. He knows grappling. He's a good wrestler. You saw against John Jones and everything. He's steadily improving his game, and he is fluent. He moves. He's not just, even though he's got the power punch, he's not just a power puncher. And I feel he has a lot more tools than Johnson. Of course, there is the puncher's chance. One shot can end it all. And of course, I hope it won't happen. And I believe that out of 100 fights, he will win 97.
And your management is screaming at me now, so we appreciate your time, Niklas. Before we let you go, though, we always ask, is there anyone you'd like to say shout out, or any sponsors you'd like to say a quick thank you to who help you in your everyday preparation and training?
Thank you to Unibet, Gymgrossisten, and all my sponsors. Thank you to my management team. Thank you to my teammates and everybody that's ever believed in me or trained with me.
Niklas, I got to admit, I would much prefer another 20 minutes with you, and hopefully we'll get it later. Yeah. But thank you so much for your time. Cheers. Thank you.